Okay, this video is going to start with a pretty embarrassing episode of my life. As I was saying, as a kid, and this story is going to be very, very embarrassing. I thought that kids were born knowing Italian. I remember watching some British or American television, and there were these little kids that were speaking in English. They were like maybe 5 or 6 years old. And I was like telling to my mom, look how smart these kids are. They are 5, they're 6. They're so young and they already can speak English. And that's because I thought that kids were born knowing Italian. And so my mom had to explain to me that kids are not born knowing Italian just because, I thought that that's how kids were made. But they, learn the language from where they live. Which is of course normal. When I was in my teens, a friend of my uncle came back from France from a vacation. And I went to see my uncle, his friend was there. And when I asked him how the vacation was, he told me something like, "Oh Fabio, French kids are so intelligent. They can speak French already at a very young age." I swear this is not a joke. This guy, the friend of my uncle, he was in his mid-20, 25, 26 back then. He also thought that kids were born knowing Italian. And when I told him that he was wrong, the guy didn't believe me. He thought that I was making fun of him. Now, why am I telling you this? Often people base their knowledge on their own experience alone. And that can sometimes lead us to have wrong beliefs simply because they are not based on facts. And when this happens, when trying to run a business like a creative agency, that can hurt your business. When medicine as a discipline started to take form, it was still very much a crossover practice between art, science, religion, as well as some folkloristic knowledge. The first medical universities were created because the doctors at the time, they already understood that in order to train more doctors, it was not enough anymore to address health issues basing ourselves only on our experience and expertise, but instead we needed to start recording facts and data that through analysis could have led us to more solid and replicable conclusions. When it comes to disciplines like design or architecture, and even more specifically to architecture visualization, because this is my field, although arguably this can be applied to all other artistic professional disciplines as well, there is a lot of knowledge available online in relationship to the tools used, for example, or the pipeline, the workflows. There are tips and tricks, tutorials, but there is very little knowledge in relationship to the business side of things. Even worse, very little people working in these fields are willing to learn this stuff. Things like the science of business or behavioral economics, communication, maybe a bit of statistics. And so designers and artists, they limit themselves to the artistic practice alone, and this happens almost by choice. And that, as a consequence, puts them in the fighting pit with their clients, but without the proper tools to fight these clients. Maybe fighting carries out a negative connotation, but in a way it is a fight. And this is often true especially for freelancers or for small companies with tiny teams. Now, the problem is, people like arguing. They like arguing a lot more than rather accepting the possibility that maybe what they thought and assumed being right might have actually been wrong, or at least not fully correct. And why is that? Well, arguing amplifies one's self-perception of expertise. And this is something that, especially on social media, we see happening more and more often. If I find some ground on which I can have an argument openly online with somebody about a topic that I think I know better than the other person, then it fortifies my own perception of how good I am in my own field. It doesn't make me better, it only makes me think that I'm better. Recently, myself, I've started slowing down my engagement on social media discussions merely because, more often than not, when people express their negative opinion under a public post, they don't do it to allow for the conversation to be constructive. They do it to prove that they're right and that you're wrong. Because the feeling of winning an argument becomes a self-soothing mechanism for people to fortify their beliefs. And that's why many freelancers and entrepreneurs, they struggle with creating positive change for themselves and for their clients, because adjusting the way you are requires for you to sometimes having to admit to yourself that maybe your perception of reality might not have been objective, but rather only subjective, and that maybe you should reconsider your own position on certain facts. Tim Ferriss, I think, in one of his podcasts, he addresses the ability to mentally adapt to change as a direct sign of intelligence and plasticity, flexibility. And I agree with that. So we are maybe 5-6 minutes already in this video. You might say, okay, Fabio, where are we going with this? Even if you're an expert in your field, learn how to always keep your feet on the ground and try to never put yourself above others, especially when it comes to communication. Listening is an underrated ability that I realize a lot of people are simply unable to do. Just by trying and listening more to others, you might be able to understand the world around you a lot better than the average person does. So use this. Another thing is, the internet is full of free content and information. Even my content is free. Whatever you need or whatever you're looking for is right there for you to take. Then take what you need and leave what you don't need. Do not allow for negativity in your life to affect the way you are as a person and how you react to what you see online. I call this having the social media filter. And in an era of information overflow, having a great social media filter can be the key sometimes. If you feel like the internet is giving you an information overload and that's a lot that your brain cannot digest, I'm totally with you. I understand you completely. Then listen to me. Go away, take a walk, and do not look at Facebook, Instagram, and all that, because most of the time what you see online is content that has been highly curated to make you think that my life is great and that yours suck. But it's not true. If you need real knowledge, if you need real guidance, your experience alone will never be enough. So read a book. That is by far the best thing that you can do for yourself. If you do not know where to start, pick up the biography of someone that you admire and start with that. If you are trying to improve your business knowledge in your field, get a book about management. If you need to learn how to improve your communication skills, read Seth Godin or Zig Ziglar. If you need to find your inner voice and understand your purpose, read authors like Simon Sinek or Sadhguru. He also makes a lot of videos, so this is even better because you don't have to read, you can just listen. Whatever you're trying to do, books often hold the key. Maybe they don't hold the key, they hold a key, but you know what I mean. The point is, force yourself to expand your knowledge instead of forcing your knowledge to fit within the realm of your own perception of what reality is. If on one side we have a bunch of creative companies that are doing great work and that are very successful with their clients, and they win projects after projects, and they get nominated and awarded for their great work, and on the other side there is you and you're struggling to get new clients, or maybe your clients screw you over and over continuously and you do not have enough money to buy licenses for the software that you use, you should not do that. Always buy licenses. If you don't have money to upgrade your PC and you have not taken a holiday in years, or maybe you don't have enough money to hire somebody to help you out, then you should probably stop complaining about the industry that you're in, and you should start asking yourself instead, what is that I'm not doing or that I'm not able to do well enough for me to also run a legitimate and stable, successful creative business? Please try to become a bit more analytical. It's a little bit like those who believe that the earth is flat. Is this a belief based on facts, or is it based on your own perception of reality, that there is a conspiracy and that the earth is actually flat? The problem is that those who believe that the earth is flat, they will keep on believing it despite actual facts proving them wrong, because they decided to keep on believing. And you see, there is a substantial difference between what we believe being true and facts. If we do not allow ourselves to decide to accept facts and adjust our perception of reality based on facts, then our beliefs and our actions, they will never change. And that's it. We're gonna keep being wrong, thinking that we're right. Thanks a lot for watching. My name is Fabio Palvelli. See you guys next time.